So in this class, let's get started with CSS, that is Cascading Style Sheets. So first, let me tell you what is CSS. So it is one of the most interesting concepts of HTML as it specifies the rules for styling elements of a web document. And it not only extends its features in controlling colors and sizes of fonts, but also it controls spaces between various elements, the color and width of a given line, etc. So that is why CSS is used to determine the style and layout of web pages. And there are four types of column layouts available for structuring the pages. What are they? Number one is two column layout. Number two is three column layout. Number three is four column layout. Number four is six column layout. So in CSS syntax, value should end with a semicolon. So this is the introduction to CSS. And now let us understand what do you mean by typography. So typography refers to the art and technique used in type design, which consist of decisions related to typefaces, point size, line length, letter spacing, etc. So it means that this keeps a lot of efforts to make the page easy to read, navigate, and to provide the messages clearly. And form is a web page which contains elements like text fields, checkboxes, etc. And usually forms are created by inserting the form tag like this form tag and then a few statements and then slash form tag in the HTML code. So first let us understand about style rule. What do you mean by style rule? So style rule specify the appearance of a document, and a style rule is composed of two units. One is selector and the other is declaration. So what is selector? It represents the elements to which the rule applies. For example, H1, H2, P, etc. And declaration is it represents the properties of an element. For example, color, font style. So this is about style rule. And what is the syntax for style rule? It is selector. In flower brackets, we give declaration ending with a semicolon. And then selector, property, colon value, followed by semicolon. Let's take an example. H1, property is text align, colon, value is center. This is the example. So let's see how to use link element now. So link element is an empty element. And it is used to link two documents. That is, it is used to link the style sheets with the document in which it is present. And it not only links a style sheet, but also links an RSS feed that correlates with the web page. And the link element has three attributes when it is used for associating a style sheet with the document. So what are the three attributes? Number one is type. Number two is REL. Number 3 is href. So in addition to these core attributes, the link element can have other attributes also, like char set, dir, href, href lang, media, rel, rev, style, target, and type. So these three are the core attributes. And apart from the core attributes, you have the other attributes also. Now let us see what are the properties that influence the appearance of the font. So let's see what are the properties that influence the appearance of the font. So what are the properties? Number 1 is font. Number 2 is font family. Number 3 is font size. Number 4 is font weight. Number 5 is font style. Number 6 is font variant. Number 7 is font stretch. And number 8 is font size adjust. So these are the properties that influence the appearance of the font. Now let us try to understand what do you mean by a selector. So as I told you, in style rule, you have two units. One is selector and the other is declaration. So first let us understand what do you mean by selector. So selector is an element to which the style rule is applied, and it provides a way to select the element or elements for applying the style rules. And the elements can be selected in several ways by using different types of selectors. So let us see what are the different types of selectors. Number 1, universal selector. Number 2, the type selector. Number 3, the class selector. Number 4, the ID selector. Number 5, the child selector. Number 6, the descendant selector. Number 7, the general sibling selector. Number 8, the adjacent sibling selector. And number 9, the attribute selector. So these are the different types of selectors in CSS. Now let us understand the most important property, that is vertical align property. So vertical align property is used to control the vertical position of the text or an image. So what is the syntax of vertical align property? It is H1 flower brackets vertical align colon value ending with a semicolon, as every statement of CSS ends with a semicolon. And it takes different values. Number 1 is baseline. Number 2 is sub. Number 3 is super. Number 4 middle. Number 5 top. Number 6 text top. Number 7 bottom. Number 8 text bottom. Now let us take different properties that are used to position the items on a page. So write down different properties used to position the items on the page. So what are the different properties? Number one is XHTML div property. So what is this property? It is used to group the items of the XHTML pages to chunks or blocks. Then the second property is CSS margin property. So it is used to set the margin of the element or property. Number three is CSS width property. So this property is used to set the width of the box. Number four is CSS float property. So it is used to align the div elements to the left or right of the page. Now let us see what do you mean by tracking. So tracking is also called as letter spacing, and it is referred to as the space between the letters. And in CSS, the letter spacing property is used to control the space between the items on the page. And the letter spacing is required when dealing with the headings that is in uppercase letters, because reading the headings is little bit difficult than reading a sentence. So for example, H1, flower braces open, letter spacing, colon, its value is 0.1 centimeter. Close the statement. So this is tracking. Now let us see what is list style position property. So this list style position property specifies the bullet points for multiple lines, like bullet points for the multiple lines, like this, by aligning the second line with the start of the first line or aligning it underneath the start of the marker, that is bullets or numbering. So this property has two values. Number one is inside, number two is outside. So what is this inside? What does it do? Over here, the second line is aligned underneath the start of the marker. And in outside, the second line is aligned with the start of the first line. Then the next property is list style image property. So the list style image property is used to specify the images as the marker rather than a bullet point or a number. So it requires the URL of the image as its value. Now let us see what are the advantages of fixed width design. So what are the advantages of fixed width design? Number one is the line length of the text can be controlled without bothering about the size of user's window. Number two is the page size remains the same. Number three is the designer has full control on the position and appearance of items on the page. Number four is the width and position of elements can be controlled exactly by pixel values. So these are the advantages of fixed width design. Next, let us see what are the advantages of liquid design. So number one is The page expands and fills the browser window without leaving any gaps around it. Number 2 is the users are allowed to set font size larger than intended because page layout is stretchable. Number 3 is the page can even fit in a small size window. There is no need for scrolling it. Now let us take an example for CSS. So take the HTML tag and then take the head tag, then title tag. What is the title here? We take HTML CSS example. This is the title, then close the title tag. Now close the head tag. Now open the body tag. In this we declare h3 style equals quotations open color green semicolon font size 24 pixels font style normal. Semicolon quotations close. Close the h3 tag and then continuation hello CSS course. Then slash h3 and then close the body tag and then close the HTML tag. So now let's see how style sheets are specified into HTML document. So first we need to understand what do you mean by a rule. So a rule is considered as a guide or principle that helps in conducting an action. And then what is CSS rule? It can be associated with the element of the HTML document and they specify the styles for the content of the elements. So first let me give you CSS rules. Under CSS rules you have two. One is selector and the other is declaration. Then in declaration again it is classified into two. One is property and the other is value. So as I already told you, a CSS rule consists of two parts. One is selector and the other is declaration. So what does selector do? It indicates the elements to be styled. There are three types of selectors. What are the three types of selectors? Number one is HTML selector. Number two is class selector. And number three is ID selector. Now coming to declaration. So declaration indicates the type of styles that can be applied to an element. So the declaration part is again divided into two parts, that is property and value. So now let us see what is property and what is value. So property indicates the property of the attributes of the selected element or elements, and value acts as the specification for the property. Okay, let us take an example. Property, value. So how do we give H2? Flower brackets open, color, colon, green, semicolon. So this is property. And this is value. And H2 is the selector. And this color green is the declaration. So a CSS rule can be applied to more than one element. So let's see how to do that. H1, comma P, comma H2. Color, green. Font size, 32 pixel. Font family, Times New Roman. So these are properties and these are values. And this is the rule. So this example shows a rule which is applied to H1 tag, P tag and H2 tag, elements of the document. So these elements are separated by comma. And the rule also consists of property value pair in the curly braces. And the property and value is separated by a colon, whereas each of the property value pair separated by semicolon. Now let us see an XHTML code and a CSS containing rules. So now I'm going to give you a XHTML code to which the CSS containing different rules are applied. And the XHTML code is saved as fruits.html. So the CSS should be saved with the file extension .css. And here the style sheet that used is style.css. And the style sheet should be created in the editors such as Windows Notepad or text editor on the Mac. So let's see the code. So fruits.html. Now we need to give the tag HTML, then body tag, then link element. REL is the attribute of the link element. In double quotes, we give style sheet. Then type is equal to text/CSS, quotations close, href equals style.css. Then h1 tag. This is h1 text. Then /h1. h2 tag. This is h2 text. Close the h2 element. Then h3 element. This is h3 text. /h3. Then close the body tag and close the HTML tag. Now we need to give style.css. So this is the style sheet. Now first you open the body, then color, colon. This is the color code #000000. Background color, #FFF. Then font family, Arial. Now we open the H1. Over here we give H1 is the selector. Now background color #EF. Then border style solid. Border width 2 pixel. Border color #999999. Then we take another selector that is H2. Over here we give background color #CCC. Then font weight bold. Padding 6 pixel. Now another H3 selector. Property is padding. Value is 6 pixel. So as you can see, the selector body is rule 1. From here to here, it is rule 1. This is rule 2. This is rule 3. And this is rule 4. Okay. So let us see what is the effect of each of the CSS rule on the XHTML documents elements. So the rule 1 in the style apply.css is prepared to apply the default color to any text and lines used in the document. And the default color of the text and lines of the document is taken as black. So the background of the page is specified as white and the typeface is Arial in rule 1. And what about rule 2? Rule 2 is used to affect the appearance of the H1. So the background color of the table is specified as light gray and the borders color is specified as dark gray with broadness of 1 pixel. Then coming to rule 3, that is H2. So the rule 3 affects the appearance of the table H2 and the background color of the table header is taken as medium gray and the distance between the edge of the cell and the text is known as padding, which is taken as 6 pixels. So what is padding? Padding is the distance between the edge of the cell and the text. And in the third rule, that is H2, weight of the font is taken as bold. And in the last rule, rule 4, it affects the H3, where the distance between the edge of the cell and the text, known as padding, is taken as 6 pixel. Now let us understand the concept of inheritance. Inheritance in CSS. So in CSS, that is in cascading style sheets, the element enclosed in another element inherits the styles of its outer element. So the outer element is the parent element and the inner element is the child element. And the child element inherits the styles of parent element. If the inner element, that is the child element, defines its own styles which exist in the parent element, then the parent's element is overridden. So cascading means overriding the global style sheet with local style sheet and overriding the local style sheet by a particular element with its own style. So cascading effects allows a chain of precedence in overriding even a document creator's style by a reader style. So let us see. Let us take an example. So the example is to make use of cascading effect. So what is the file name here? Cascading.html is the file name. Let me write the program here. First I give the head tag, then I give the style tag, then selector is the body, then property is color, its value is red, then property is font size, its value is 15 points. Then P is the selector, property is color, its value is green. Then dot on, this is the selector, color is blue here. Now we close the style tag, close the head tag. Now we are opening the body tag. So this is in body and it is in red color. Now open the paragraph tag. So this is in paragraph tag. And is green color. Then close the body tag. So in this program, the body style that is red color is overridden by P element style that is green color. And P element style is overridden by span style. Now let's see the different ways of adding CSS rules into documents. So how can you add CSS rules into the documents? So it can be added in three ways. Number one is external style sheet. Number two is internal style sheet. Number three is inline style sheet. So first let us understand about external style sheet. So external style sheets allows the users to create applications with multiple pages. So in external style sheets, CSS rule multiple is written in single document and it is saved under file name with CSS extension. Hence, if any web document wants to be adhered to these rules, then a simple link to filename.css is made using link tag. So let's see how can we do that. So first we will take the file name as rule.css. Then body is the selector, color black, background color lime, font family, sans serif, align, center. Then H1 selector, font size 20 points, H2 selector, background color orange, border width 2 pixel, border color black. Then H3, font weight italic, color black, padding 2 pixel. Then H4 selector, padding 5 pixel. Now this is a continuation. Now we take another file name that is external.html. So first we give the HTML tag and then we give the head tag, then title tag, external style sheet example, close the title tag. Now we give the link element. REL is the attribute is equal to style sheet. Type is equal to text/CSS. href is equal to rule.css. Now close the head, Open the body. H1. This is H1. Close H1 tag. Next H2. This is H2. Close H2 tag. Then H3 element. This is H3. Close H3 element. Then H4. This is H4. Now close H4 element. Then close the body tag and close the HTML tag.